Hey guys, welcome back to Foil Fridays. Just walking through the shop here this morning, getting a coffee, and gonna start our video. This week we are going to address a common question we get, which is, how does my kite that I already own, going to work for hydrofoiling? What's going to be good about it? What's going to be bad about it? And let's jump right into it. Now, if you've already got a kite and it flies and pulls you through the water, chances are it's probably going to work, at least on a basic level. However, there are certain kites that are better for others, and each kite has its own inherent benefits and trade-offs to it in regard to foilboarding. So, when you're going to choose a foilboarding kite, if you don't already own one, there's really three main categories you could look at. Surf kites, those are great for pretty much any condition other than the really light wind stuff. You got single strut kites, which are good for fairly light wind, all the way, through average riding. And then you've got your ram air foil kites. Now, ram air foil kites are really what we choose to foil with in the lightest of conditions, really reserved for sub 10 knot riding for the most part, but they do get out and excel in that condition. So if you're looking to scratch the bottom of the barrel, they'll be a good choice for that. As always, guys, don't forget to click the eye icon to take yourselves to the Foilboarding Knowledge Center. We've got just a massive wealth of information there, and we're adding to it daily. So if you have any questions, jump in there. In addition to this video, I've got 2-3 times the amount of information in an article about a similar topic there, where you can really dig in and get in the meat and potatoes of that. You can get the stats and all the real technical information. This is more of an overview, so be sure to check out the Foilboarding Knowledge Center. We're working on it all the time, and it's going to be the most comprehensive piece of information for foiling out there. Let's start at the top, and we can work our way through different types of kites and what benefits there may or may not have for foil boarding. So our most popular kite choice with any kite purchase is going to be Freeride kites. These really rule the market. They're what most people out there own, what they're looking to buy. And some of those would include the Carina Switchblade, the North Evo, the North Rebel, you got the Airrush Lithium in there, the Slingshot Rally, or even the RPM, including the Liquid Force Envy, of course, as well, are going to be pretty good choices in terms of foil boarding kites. There's not a whole lot you're missing out on for a more specific kite, but really they're going to do it all. They have great low end fly and relatively light wind, although not really light wind, and they have a good broad power range. They're going to pull you through the water on your foil, which from at least a beginning standpoint is what you're looking to do. Some things that they're not great for, at least when compared to other things, is a lot of these kites don't fall downwind that well. So when you're moving downwind, you're going to have to babysit them a little bit more and just take a little less of an angle downwind when moving in that direction. The other thing that can be a little bit difficult with these kites is that they are quite powerful generally. So if you can, you want to aim to ride them in their lower end of their wind range when you're foiling. Otherwise, when you gain that board speed and you really get that apparent wind moving, you're going to overpower the kite really quickly and become overpowered, which on a foil isn't easily remedied. You're really just screaming in the direction that you're heading, and at that point you need to either choose to ride downwind or try to edge upwind hard, and that's not always easy to do at a high rate of speed. Our second choice for foilboarding categories, and probably one of the most preferred, would be surf kites. Surf kites tend to fall downwind very well. They drift very well and have the added benefit of fast turning and pivotal turning, which means that kite is going to be repositionable in the wind window that is, while you're riding the foil, so that you can readjust without getting yarded off your board by that excess power. These kites also tend to have very smooth power delivery, so that as you pull the bar in, it's going to be a real gradual increase in power. Now what that means is just a little bit more consistent, more reliable power delivery from the kite, which means you're going to be that much more consistent and confident in your foil board riding. So some examples of surf kites for foil boarding, or just surf kites in general, would be the Carina Drifter, the North Neo, the Nash Slash, You've got the Liquid Force, Wow, and many others out there, including the Slingshot Wave SST. The real highlights there would be the Cabrini Drifter and the North Neo, as well as the Air Rush Wave. All fantastic drifting kites that work well for foilboarding. So yeah, we love surf kites for foiling. They're one of the best choices you can make, especially when you're talking about riding with adequate power, not in light wind. And again, you know, they've got that downward drift, they got that pivotal turning, that smooth power delivery that just makes your life a whole lot easier when you're foiling. It's difficult to foil sometimes, and if you don't need to think about what the kite's doing all the time, that just makes your life that much better. So another category that's great for foilboarding are single strut kites. They're generally constructed to be lightweight and easy to fly in light wind scenarios, so they're going to get you up and board started in lighter winds, as well as have a good, broad wind range as you're riding them. They tend to turn quickly, which makes them fun behind the foil and easily repositionable. However, they do tend to have a little bit more grunt and a little bit more power in the turn, so they're not quite as easy to move around the window without that excess power as, say, a surf kite. Some examples of those would be the North Mono, you've got the Nash Boxer, the Liquid Force Solo, the Air Rush Ultra, and they're all fantastic kites for foiling, especially in the lighter end of things, when you're not needing a whole lot of downwind drift performance. And they'll just get you out there with that same leading edge kind of feel as your normal kite, only you can fly in lighter winds. Now we're talking about lighter winds, we're going to talk about ram air foil kites. Now we don't really grab these around the shop too often unless it's the lightest of light winds. We're talking sub 10 knots, as light as like 4 knots on some occasions. And these are great for what they're great for, which is riding in light wind. They're extremely light, they stay in the sky. And one of our favorites for that is the HQ4 Matrix. This kite is optimized for hydrofoiling free riding. And what that means is it's a little deeper canopy, it's easier to fly, less maintenance than a lot of the ram air foils out on the market today. What's the big benefit of these? You can ride in lighter winds, that's about it. They're a little bit harder to get downwind, especially in light wind, because, well, every kite's difficult to get downwind with light wind on a hydrofoil because you just want to overrun the kite. Beyond that, a real popular kite in the industry right now, not for foiling necessarily, but in a more generic sense, are freestyle kind of kites, or what we call crossover kites, where they're both great for freestyle and free riding. Some examples of this would be the Cabrini FX, the North Dice, you've got the Nash Park, and kites like the Slingshot RPM. It's a little bit more free ridey than, say, freestyle, but we would call it a crossover kite as well. Now these kites aren't typically a kite you would go to purchase if you're looking for a hydrofoil kite or a hydrofoil friendly kite. That being said, if you already own one, get out there with your foil, go ride it. Our team rider Blake rides pretty much exclusively FXs, and he's out there foiling his brains out, anytime he gets a chance. So it's certainly possible. They are going to require a little bit more attention to what the kite's doing, especially on a downwind path, or as you're looping the kite, because they're so powerful and so explosive in the way they deliver power that you just got to be a little bit ready for that with your hydrofoil, because you might translate that into some extra speed or a little extra pop. So it's something to know when you're riding those style of kites. So just to break it all back down for you guys, if you've got a kite and you're getting into foiling, go out and ride it. Chances are you don't really know what kind of riding you're going to be doing, what kind of kite you prefer. So gain some of that experience, get out there, learn to foil first, and then you can make those decisions. If you are out there wondering which kind of kite to benefit from, surf kites are a great choice for most people riding in great conditions. If you have a lighter wind condition, look at a single strut, or if you really want to go the super lightweight stuff, ram air foils are the way to do that. If you have any other kind of kite, get out there, ride it, and enjoy. If you have any questions about how your kite's going to react or what you could do to make it better for foiling, be sure to give us a call or comment in the section below. We're always happy to answer questions. If you found this video helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up. As always, subscribe to our channel so you can get even more awesome videos and notifications about Foil Fridays every Friday. Until next week, this has been Tucker with Foil Fridays.